Hello, the film you're about to see was produced entirely by members of Bolsover Drama Group's youth section between August 2006 and October 2007. The film was made as our response to DEFRA's request for local people to take action on climate change as part of their Tomorrow's Climate, Today's Challenge initiative.
What do you know about climate change?
Oh, not a lot really, just that really it's down to people.
Not a lot really, only what I'm told. I'm reading the newspapers.
I know very little really about climate change. I hear a lot about it and that we're all responsible for it. But
We stopped people in the streets around Bolsover district and asked them questions about the issues surrounding climate change. We picked 4 key areas which were often mentioned on TV, radio and in the newspapers. These 4 areas were climate change itself, CO2 emissions, the Gulf Stream and carbon footprint. As you can see, some of the answers were very revealing. In fact, in general, most people thought they knew a lot more about climate change than they actually did. In total, we stopped and asked 148 people.
not a lot. I know it's things are changing, but that's about as much as I know.
It's got something to do with sun and getting warmer on the planet.
For issue number 1, climate change itself, 93% or just over 9 in 10 people believed they understood what climate change was. In fact, only just over 2 in 10 people actually did.
Well, I know that it's changing because my garden is underwater at the moment and something's going to have to be done about it.
I know some about climate change. I know about the greenhouse effect, and I know we're supposed to be
Warmer weather.
and that's what's causing the floods, supposedly.
I know that it's happening in frozen places.
For issue number 2, CO2 emissions, just over 8 in 10 people believe you understood what CO2 emissions were. In fact, just under 3 in 10 actually did.
Well, I know that it's supposed to be CO2 that's making the climate change.
It's caused by carbon emissions. Basically, it's the Western lifestyle that's causing it. Factories, individuals, you name it.
It's affecting the world globally. It is in leading at the moment. It is understood to be leading to global warming, hence the melting of the ice caps in both the Arctic and the Antarctic.
And for issue number 4, the carbon footprint, 4 in 10 people believed they knew what the carbon footprint was, when actually only 1 in 10 knew.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know what it is. No idea. Don't know.
You've got me there, I don't know.
Not sure.
I don't really know a lot about carbon footprints, to be honest.
It's the amount of energy that we use or waste.
And everybody has one.
We all have a carbon footprint, and it means the amount of carbon we each produce through our everyday life, really.
I think everybody has a carbon footprint. It's how much energy they use in the home and how much they're saving.
Carbon footprint, it's the amount of carbon that an individual produces altogether in everything, like in the house or vehicles, etc.
It's the amount of fossil fuel that one uses in your life. It could be from burning coal, it could be from burning petrol or petrol products like plastics. And the amount of carbon that has been locked up in those materials are released in the air as carbon dioxide, which is a major gas leading towards global warming.
We hear a lot these days about the problems of climate change and our country's leaders' worries as to what the planet will be like for their children and their grandchildren. Well, we, the youth of Great Britain, are their children and their grandchildren, and we too are worried.
Seymour said that we jumped at the chance to make this film and tried to encourage people to act now to protect people like us from future hardships through climate change. If you all realise that together we can make a difference, it need not be too late. Every time we put on a lamp, we use electricity.
Global warming, ice caps melting.
More flooding. Eventually we'll hardly have any land. It'll be like Waterworld.
Every time you use a car or buy food from overseas, you are using more fuel than necessary.
Quite a big worry for the future.
Every time we use an aeroplane to go on holiday, we use fuel.
I believe the world's getting warmer generally, so it's causing the melting of the ice caps, more floods, more land turning to desert that can't be, used for agriculture.
Every time you use your central heating, you are burning energy.
Probably another 3 or 4 generations, I think. So another 30, 40 years? I think we'll have a better idea then what the effect that we've had has been.
Which generation? Well, I've got grandchildren, but I would possibly think it'll be great-grandchildren.
Probably the younger generation.
Maybe next generation or one after that.
Thanks.
Next generation.
The next generation.
The next generation from you, I think.
The younger generation. My daughter, who's in her 20s, and younger children.
Probably my grandchildren.
I think your generation, I think our generation to some extent, so I think it's going to happen quite quickly.
Well, I think it's Jacob's generation. He's going to school in September, and I think by the time he's grown up, he really will have a problem.
I think it will be people of your age, children. It's what we've got to do now that will help you in the future.